Hello everyone, welcome back to the tutorials again. So in today's session we are going to study about compressibility properties of the soil. So in which half of the part we have completed in the previous session, that is compressibility curve. So normal consolidation line, swelling or reloading line we have studied. So by using this particular compressibility curve we have studied about coefficient of compression, compression index. Even we have studied about swelling index. So you can see this compression index, as the CC is high, compressibility of soil is high and high consolidation. That is the conclusion at which we have arrived. Further you can see swelling index. So same formula is there. It is in just unloading part we have to consider slope of the line. In unloading part we have to consider. Further you can see over here coefficient of compressibility, that is AV. So it is the slope of void ratio versus effective stress for a given stress increment. So it is just a slope at given stress increment. So coefficient of volume compressibility or volume change. So this formula is very important. In many of the problems they are going to ask you about the ask you to find out the volume compressibility or volume change. So further determination of coefficient of consolidation is very important. So there are various methods to determine the coefficient of consolidation. It actually depends upon the time factor and the degree of consolidation. So logarithm of time fitting method which is going to give us by using the compressibility curve and by using the standard procedure we are going to find out the coefficient of compressibility or coefficient of consolidation. Further you can see next method is square root of time fitting method. So the procedure is very simple. You can go through this procedure. It is very simple one. Further I will move further. In today's session we are going to study about determination of pre-consolidation pressure. So what is the pre-consolidation pressure is there? We need to determine before applying any sort of loading. The pre-consolidation pressure should be known. So to know this pre-consolidation pressure, again we are going to use the compressibility curve. You can see over here this is the compressibility curve which we are using. You can see the cursor. So this is a compressibility curve which we are using to determine the pre-consolidation pressure. So to determine the pre-consolidation pressure, following procedure is to be followed. So a pre-consolidation pressure is also called as yield stress. First one, conduct an odometer test on undisturbed soil sample. This is very important. So there are various types of soil samples. One is disturbed soil sample, another one is undisturbed soil sample. In case of disturbed soil sample, natural condition and natural properties of the soil will not be represented. In case of undisturbed soil sample, natural condition and natural properties of the soils are preserved and they are represented. Next, conduct an odometer test on undisturbed soil sample obtained from field. We have to conduct the odometer test. Next, plot the void ratio E versus log effective consolidation stress similar to the compression curve. We have to plot void ratio on y-axis, log effective consolidation stress on x-axis. The equilibrium void ratio at the end of each of the pressure increments are used in obtaining E versus. So that is the thing which we have already studied. Just I have noted down over here. Select the point of maximum curvature, point A on the curve. You can see over here. If you observe this particular curve, the point of maximum curvature, from this point only maximum curvature starts. So we have to select the point where we can find out the maximum curvature, where we can point out the maximum curvature in the curve. So I have marked it as a point A. So next point you can see, draw a tangent at a point of maximum curvature, that is point A. So at point A, I need to draw the tangent. So you can see this is a tangent which I have drawn to the point A. So after drawing the tangent, this tangent is shown here. Specifically, I have mentioned it as a tangent at point A. So after drawing the tangent, draw a bisector. Draw a horizontal line AC. So you can see we have to draw the horizontal line AC. So from point A, we have to draw two things. First one is tangent, second one is horizontal line. This horizontal line is nothing but AC. So AC I have to draw. Next, draw a bisector equally dividing it in two parts. Line AD between tangent and horizontal line. So you can see this is a tangent and this is a horizontal line. We have to draw the bisector such that it should divide this particular part in two equal bisections. Okay, so that line is nothing but AD. So AD I have drawn. Next, extend the normal consolidation line, bottom portion of the graph or curve, to intersect the bisector line at point O. So what I have to do, this is a normal consolidation line. So I have to continue this normal consolidation line such that it should bisect the it should bisect the bisector, that is AD, at point O. At point O, the vertical stress corresponding to the point of intersection O is pre-consolidation pressure. So what we need to find out over here is pre-consolidation pressure. So whatever the consolidation pressure is there at this particular point, which is that point, if I extend this normally consolidated line such that it should join the bisector which has divided the area in two equal parts, area between tangent and AC. So at whatever the bisection point is there, that bisection point I am going to name it as a O, and corresponding to that bisection part, whatever the effective consolidation stresses are there, I am going to name it as a pre-consolidation pressure. So like this we can find out the pre-consolidation pressure. It is very simple. I will just explain it once again by using this figure. So we have to perform the odometer test. So in the odometer test, we are going to apply the stress at a certain increment, that is 5, 10, 20, 40, 80, 160, 340 and finally 680. So something like that, with those increments we are going to apply the loading. So for that loading we are going to mark the void ratio and effective consolidation stress. So after that, after achieving the peak load, we are going to reduce the load to the 1/4 and we are going to mark the swelling. After that we are going to plot the curve. You can see over here, this is the curve which I have obtained from the odometer test, that is consolidometer test. So to determine the pre-consolidation pressure, what I have to do, I have to mark the maximum curvature point. So I have marked the point A over here, and then for the point A I have to draw a tangent. So I have drawn a tangent over here. After that I have to draw a horizontal line which is nothing but AC at the point A. So I have to draw the horizontal line. Next I have to I have two lines, that is AC and another one is tangent. Whatever the bisection line is there, that bisection line should be at the center of these two lines. So it should divide these two lines equally. So the bisection line AD I have drawn. So from this curve I have extended the normal consolidation to a straight line, and I have extended it such that it should bisect a bisector at point O. So this whatever the effective consolidation stress is there corresponding to point O is going to give us the pre-consolidation pressure. Okay, so procedure is very simple. Many of the times in your examinations they have asked you about the pre-consolidation pressure. Further, time rate of consolidation. So we know that Cv is equal to Tv into h square divided by t, or Tv is equal to Cv into t divided by h square. So small t is equal to Tv into h square divided by Cv. For degree of consolidation, that is Tv is constant, because for a particular degree of consolidation, for example 50% consolidation, so u here will be 50 and Tv will remain constant. So for a particular type of soil, for a particular amount of consolidation, Tv will remain same because it is depending upon the degree of consolidation. Now this time rate of consolidation will be depending upon H and Cv. So we can say that time required for a given degree of consolidation is proportional to length of drainage path H. So time required for a consolidation will be proportional to length of drainage path, that is H. So if the time required to reach a certain degree of consolidation is measured in the laboratory on a sample obtained from the field, the time taken by the field deposit of known thickness can be predicted by using this particular equation. So what they say is the main purpose of studying this time rate of consolidation is to know about the time required for particular amount of consolidation. Now we know that Cv is equal to Tv into h square divided by t. So in that, if I rearrange this equation and if I rearrange it for t, I am going to get it as sorry, t is equal to capital Tv into h square divided by Cv. But here Tv is constant. Here Tv is constant for particular type of soil. How I am saying it as a constant, you can see over here. So we know that for Tv, this is a formula, that is pi divided by 4 into u divided by 100. What is u over here? U over here is degree of consolidation. So for a particular degree of consolidation, for example, I can take it as a 100%, or I can take it as 80%. So for 80%, let us consider an example of 80%. So for 80% of consolidation, Tv will remain same. It will not going to change. So it will remain same. So T is, we know the formula for T. In that, Tv is constant. So if I take out this Tv, so T is equal to h square divided by Cv. Mainly it is depending upon the h, that is length of drainage. Next, if time required to reach a certain degree of consolidation, so whatever, if the time required for certain degree of consolidation is measured in the field, measured in the laboratory on a field sample. So if I collect the sample from the field and if I measure the time required for particular degree of consolidation in the laboratory, then I can say that uh, I can predict the time taken by the field deposit of known thickness. So why we need to know the thickness? Because time required will be depending upon the thickness of drainage path or length of drainage path. So by using the following formula, we can predict the time required in the field. So time required in the field is equal to hf squared, or thickness or length of our drainage in the field square, divided by length of the drainage in the laboratory square, into time taken in the laboratory, where tf is equal to thickness required for field construction, TL is equal to time required for laboratory consolidation, HF is equal to thickness of soil in the site, HL is equal to thickness of soil in the laboratory. So it is very simple. Next, few of the important differences we are going to see. Many of the times in your examination they have asked about, explain the difference between compaction and consolidation. So compaction is instant compression of soil under dynamic load. It is an artificial load which we are going to apply. Dynamic means sudden load we are going to apply. So whatever the instant compression is which we are going to give is nothing but compaction. Gradual compression under steady loading is called as consolidation. So there is a dynamic loading, here there is a steady loading. Under gradual compression is there, here instant compression is there. It takes place before building of structure, it takes place after building of structure. So before building of structure, whatever the artificial compression we are going to do, that is called as compaction. And after building construction, whatever the gradual process of compression is there, that is called as consolidation. It is a fast process, consolidation is a slow process. Similarly, carried out to improve the soil properties, occurs naturally due to load of structure, does not improve soil property. This is very important point. Compaction is mainly carried out to improve the properties of the soil. Here consolidation is not going to improve any properties of the soil. It is going to occur naturally and it is a slow process. Settlement is prevented due to compaction. Settlement occurs due to consolidation. So to prevent the settlement, we are going to go for compaction. So settlement is going to occur due to consolidation. So it is an artificial process, it is a natural process. Poor water pressure does not Poor water pressure is not so important over here. Poor water pressure is important over here because expelling out the poor water pressure is a coming going to come under the consolidation, but expelling out the air from the voids is going to come under the compaction. Do not go on infinity, go on infinity. So compaction is not an infinite process, it is just an instant process. Consolidation will go on increasing. As the life of building progresses, consolidation will also increase, but the amount is very less, that is why it is not noticeable. So many of the times in your examination they have asked about the difference between compaction and consolidation. You can go through these differences. Further, you can see in next session we are going to discuss about the important formulas which we are going to use while solving the problems. After discussing about the important formulas, we are going to discuss about the examples on consolidation. So many of the examples on the consolidation we are going to decide or solve. Before solving the examples, we are thoroughly going to understand about the formulas which we are going to use while solving this particular examples. So we'll continue it in next session. So before next session, just go through the theory which we have studied in the consolidation, especially the the formulas which are related to problems. So which are also the formulas which are related to compressibility properties of the soil. So there are many formulas. Based on these formulas only we are going to solve the problems. So we are going to continue in the next class with the problems. You can just go through the formulas. Thank you.